until they're reach 65, they go into Medicare, and then we supply a supplement for it, and we try to find the best cost for that Medicare supplement. And that was the approach that, to me, seemed to make the most sense, and that's the one that we haven't been able to get the information on. We did get kind of a preliminary one from the actuary, and it was very flawed. But I think if we're going to try to do, it was tremendously flawed. So if we're going to do something by October, I think we need to maybe step up the speed a little bit and find out if we can get a good answer to that question from the actuary before we meet in October, and then we'll have something to act on. But there was some, I don't know, posturing or whatever that prevented this information from being acted on for a good 4 months, and now we're going to be we're butting up against October, and we don't have the information, and I think it's information that could be useful to us, and that's why to wait till August to ask this question again.
The question I have is how come a decision couldn't be made on who could share information and who could do what at that meeting? I mean, why does this take a meeting to have a meeting to have a meeting? I'm sorry, I have a hard time with that concept.
I don't think the CEO is ready to do that. I don't think he had all the information, but he wasn't comfortable without having county council weigh in and have Linda Clauser there.
So in other words, okay, I can understand that, but supposedly the long, lengthy memo that was sent to him didn't give him the information he needed?
Can't come out.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I just keep looking at. We've done a lot of work. We've had a lot of meetings. We've given Mercer what we want. He never gives us back what we ask for. And like Tim says, it's always flawed. We always have a problem somewhere. The actual cost of doing what he just explained is never there. I don't know. I'm just frustrated with it. I'm sorry.
And the frustration goes even further that the actuary actually did try to do the information. He had some faulty information. He didn't have the right census of people and had some other problems in his spreadsheet. But he tried to get the information based on my request, which we're trying to determine whether I had the right to contest it. But now that he's done that, I don't think we have to wait till August to get back to him and have Linda get back to him. I don't mind going through her if that's what if it takes. I don't need to go directly to Borden to ask me the information. Go back through Linda and say, tell Borden to fix his information and get us that report back with good information in it. And then when October comes, we have something to base a decision on. But if we wait till August to figure out who's going to ask him for the information, and then we wait another month to ask him for the information, we're not going to get anywhere.
Is Tom back next week?
Yeah, I think that the fire issue has changed a lot of things. I mean, the board has a special meeting. We were going to be on recess, then we're not on recess. I mean, a lot of things have been really have been changed and altered because of the fire issue. I mean, when I say August, we're talking it's 2 weeks away, basically. And just getting a meeting with that many folks at the table might take 2 weeks to get set up. I think we really have two options. We can either entertain a variation of what Sue has referenced, and we can talk more in detail about that, and decide that would be an interim plan. So then it isn't that we drop our issues or we sit back. We continue to push forward on that, but recognize that probably it's going to take more time than we will have to meet the October deadline. Or we can not do that and decide that this is an absolute priority. We need to do everything we can to push these time frames. So we might need to call some special meetings. There might need to be a lot of committee work. So it means we're going to have to, start from now all the way through August and September and get a product finished so we can meet that October deadline. And that I think that's going to be tough because there's a lot of probably research that needs to happen, committee meetings of the ad hoc of this body, then it needs to be brought back to this body, then that is advisory to the Board of Soups, and then there's lengthy timelines and getting something on the board's agenda. If the board should want more information, let's just say, I mean, these things take quite a bit of time to move through to an ultimate decision.
But that's
So-
only to make a January 1 deadline.
That's right, and that was our goal, because
Does it have to start on January 1? I mean, not that I want to push it farther.
With the deductibles, that.
yeah, it's
Well, that's
it's a-
true.
it's a
We- we-
reasonable.
Yeah.
We had a January 1 deadline last year.
That's
I know.
right.
This issue goes way back.
Way back.
You know, and I remember having discussions with the retirees and their concerns about, rushing into a modification to their benefit plan without some level of discussion and due diligence. And I've been advocating that this data, be supplied to us. And I just really feel like
We're not rushing into the concept.
we're not rushing into the concept, and I would hazard to say that I don't want to use this deadline, this October deadline again this year, as the pressure point for rushing to another decision. I'm not prepared to do that. I'm not prepared to support it. What we need to do is to light that fire again, with admin or we do it ourselves. But we do need the data.
The problem is they haven't decided whether we can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Maybe
Well,
I've
I
got
think we
my
can go out and
foot
get
in
our own
my
actuary,
mouth, but it
because I
sounds
have-
to me like we're dealing with too darn many kingdoms.
Well, I
This
mean,
my
is the
little
health committee going to be
kingdom.
invited to the next meeting
Jeez.
or not?
Oh, I didn't
Hey,
have a
special
committee, I
meeting.
didn't even know it happened. And I don't think Bob even knew that happened either, did you?
No.
And
That came from this whole body saying, okay, we want to go out and get our own stuff, we want to go full bore with this, but at the same time, let's have a chat with the CEO to get something going over at HR.
well,
That came out of
but see, my thing is that someone from the health committee meeting, the health committee ad hoc, like Bob, should have been there too, so he could tell him exactly the frustrations that the committee is having. None of the three that are on the committee were there, so we weren't able to voice anything at all at this meeting. And I think could be a little problem.
You may not have been there, but the concerns and the frustrations were certainly voiced, absolutely voiced at the strongest level. And
Well, that's a good
so
thing.
the message was sent, but the message from our last meeting was, hey, let's get, let's do this and then report to the board. But at the same time, we said, also, let's go over and talk to the CEO and try to get something going. And that's what we did. So if we still want to push ahead, and I would hope we could set something up for next week and have that meeting. And if that meeting doesn't go well and we're not satisfied, then I'd say this body ought to authorize Tim to go forward and just find another actuary person or actuary company and go full force with it. And then take our recommendation directly to the